Now let's go through each postural view in more detail. We're going to start with the posterior aspect. So the first thing we're looking for is we're going to observe the Achilles tendon and the calcaneus. Here you're checking to see that the Achilles tendon runs straight up and down. Any deviation from this is indicative of either a supinated or a pronated foot. From here we come up the body to check the hips. And we're checking the PSIS on both sides to make sure that they are both of even height. The vertebral column is next, and here you are checking to see that it is straight and devoid of any scoliosis. Now from the vertebral column you move to the scapula, and you use the inferior angles of the scapula to assess any potential elevation or winging. Lastly, ensure that the head and neck is straight in reference to the shoulders. From here we move on to the lateral view, and in this view you firstly want to check the alignment of the lower leg. You do this by comparing the lateral malleolus, the head of the fibula, the lateral condyle and the greater trochanter. Next you check the pelvic tilt, and this is done by comparing the difference between the ASIS and the PSIS. From this view you can also check the lumbar, the thoracic and the cervical curvatures of the spine. Here you'll also be able to observe any potential rounding or protraction of the shoulders and any head position deviations, such as a forward head posture. Lastly is the anterior view. From the front, make sure that they have a good thick angle or a slight turning out of the feet. Ensure that the lower limb is in alignment and that the knee is not bowed or in a knocked-kneed position. Move up to check the level of the hips again, but this time you are using the ASIS to gauge horizontal height evenness. Lastly, observe the levels of the acromions to ensure that they are horizontally even, and lastly, observe the position of the head and the neck.